All right, welcome back everybody to this week's lackluster installment of Bets and Bullshit. My name is Matt. That's Jeff Chewy. Together, we make up 1/3 of your two favorite co-hosts.
Do you mean 2/3?
No.
Only one of us is a favorite, and
Yeah, we make up 1/3 of the two favorite co-hosts.
okay.
I'll let the audience decide.
Yeah, they can. Yeah. I'm not. We don't have time to do the equations on that. Um,
Uh,
so
without further ado,
it's
dude, your
yeah,
thing.
yeah. Bets weekly picks. That's where we always start. So we'll just jump right into it. Once again, I was the best at this, keeping my lead. Got a game on you. Got two games on Harris. So
Pretty
from
sure you're
our
cheating.
weekly, what?
Pretty sure you're cheating.
Yeah, probably. Because
Steroids.
I'm just good like that. Yeah, I use the steroids. So the first one was myself versus Nielsen, and Nielsen was projected to win, and he did. And the only one of us that picked me to win was Harris. Um, had I set my lineup better, I could have won, but I did not, and that's why I'm sure that cost me any chance of the playoffs. In fact, I know it did. I had to win out because I have way too few points scored to get into the playoffs without just being the best record. So without winning out, I had no hope of that. So I'm now eliminated from the playoffs. So you and I got that pick right. Harris did not, so he owes one there. Then we had Andy versus Gary, where we all chose Gary and we all got it wrong. So we all owe a shot there. That's the only one I owe. So this weird sort of shot glass decorative thing, all paid. So we all got that one wrong. That's the only one I got wrong. Moving on to Corey versus Spear. You and I wisely chose Spear. Harris took Corey. Spear won. So those are Matt's three wrong picks was choosing me, Gary, and Corey to win. Um, those are the ones he got wrong. We then moved on to you versus Rashawn, and you definitely needed to win, and you did. We all chose you, so we all got that correct. Then you needed Chris to beat Richie, so you were the only one to choose Chris to beat Richie. That was incorrect. So you owe for that one, and you're
I,
Gary.
for that one, I'm gonna look at this. I'm gonna drink a spicy pineapple organic hard seltzer.
Wow.
How delicious does that sound?
Wow, that sounds gross, hipster nonsense.
Yeah, I'm just
Um,
trying to punish myself even more for
yes.
that thing.
Yeah, if I wanted to really punish myself, I would drink. Gary left a bottle at my house the night after karaoke of some sort of flavored vodka that is worse than 99 bananas. Just so anybody knows, if I hate you and you come over and I give you that, it's because I hate you, or I just want to torture you for the fun of me being, a sadist. I think that's the right one. Always confuse sadist and masochist, but one likes to hurt others. That's me. The other one likes to be hurt.
That's your thruple roll.
Yeah, of course. I'm a very yeah. That's the good times. That's I get the whips and chains out. Um, and then lastly, we got Bill versus Harris. Harris really needed to win this, but even he didn't choose him to win this, and he didn't. So we all got it right by choosing Bill. Rashawn chose Harris. Worst possible choice this week for Sean. He drank for it last night while he was hanging out here with Gary and me. So that one's paid. Harris, you owe 3+1 for Rashawn. So just make sure you pay your 4 shots for that. That lets us jump into the weeklies.
Hold on, I'm gonna finish up my those picks with a nice shot. And did I hear correctly that Gary is besmirching the name of the peanut butter whiskey?
Oh yeah. His description of it is, if I get it right, and I'm not going to, but it's going to be close. Tastes like somebody threw up peanut butter or something to that effect.
Yeah, he's really, really wrong
Yeah.
because it's delicious.
He's
And
one of the only people I know that just hates it.
well, he has lots of bad takes on things. So that's just adds to the list.
Yeah. So, yep. He also did not like. I got a bottle of salted caramel Crown Royal.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I thought it was decent. It does. You can tell it is salted caramel. But the salt, for some reason, the salt flavor is a little heavy. It doesn't really bother me, which is odd because usually if salt stands out, I'm like, what the hell's wrong with this? Especially with an alcohol. But I think it's decent. I don't think he liked that either. He might just not be good at drinking hard alcohol. It could be that. It could be the case.
Yeah.
Right. So moving on to all our weekly bets, week 12 bets. We had a decent amount of bets. I want to say second highest as far as participation or total bets or involvement. Like it's a really weird calculation for the way we do things. Um, we've got you having the most bets this week because you were like, you knew you were disappointing the show and our listeners by not making bets. So you took the Gary roll and you made a crap ton of bets, 28 in fact. Unfortunately, you lost 17 of them. So I mean that's a 60%. That is third worst percentage wise. And the I mean one was Spear because he's in Tiger Beat and he's drinking for an injured player. So one bet, one loss. Whereas Gary had 13 bets and 8 losses for 61.5, and you were at 60.7. So you two are more the more painful ones there. Moving into the bets, you did a lot of position bets. So you did 3 position bets, one with Brashawn, one with Richie, and one with myself, which was really ironic because I just went with it when you were like, yeah, you accept this. And I'm like, I must have done it in the show. I don't remember accepting it. But you're like, yeah, I have it with you, Richie, and Brashawn. And I was like, I don't remember ever saying this, but okay. So I just wrote it in. I was just like, Matt said I accepted it. I'm guessing it was during the taping. Don't care.
I
So
you may have accepted somebody else's bet, and I just was skimming and assumed you accepted my bet, and that's why I lumped you into it. I don't know.
right. So yeah, I have no idea because that's the funny thing is like of the bets I have, it claims I made 11. We'd have 9 in a position. My weekly with Special K that he's still upset about me not getting right, but I explained multiple times why it was 3x, not 4x. But whatever. And what else was I in that
So,
it might be counting the weeklies, but it shouldn't be.
based on the text messages that he sent, I was inclined to be on his side. So, like verbalize how you see it and what's going on.
Okay, so the bye week should have never been included. But the week I took a vacation, Harris just like copied the sheet over. And then so by the time vacation was over, it was like, oh, you owe for this bet because your guy was on a bye.
Okay.
So that week, if I had done it right, if I had paid the buy like the bet just we included buys, you should have actually drank a double that week. But
Okay.
instead, I just moved the bet off a week where I'm like, I'm just going to drink one for the buy because buy shouldn't have been included. So this week, Chris's guy was on a buy. So I was like, just drink one because I know what I did earlier in the season. I'm not going to make you pay more than I did because the bet was never supposed to have buys. But he's like, well, it should now, like out of nowhere. So this week would have been 4x. instead of 3x. But the bet didn't work like that earlier in the season when we knew it was supposed to increase every week. It just wasn't supposed to include buys. I took a drink just because I was like, well, you guys, he had it in it. You guys did the show. So like
And
it
so
aired.
it sounds like the bye week is what screws everything up. Whether
Right.
so for future bets in future seasons, if it's a season long thing, the bye week situation needs to be clarified.
Right. Well, it's like Tiger Beat. So Tiger Beat, they made a bet. They said all season long. Of course, at least with Tiger Beat, they're all on the same team, so they all have a bye, right? Even though Spear forgot that and still drank for Chase because he just knew Chase was hurt. But like there was no bet that week, right? Standard bets for season long exclude bye weeks. Like
Has
they
has
just do.
anyone ever done as well at fantasy football and paid attention as little to football as Spear? He seems to not know what's going on and just like I don't know. I don't know. It seems like dumb luck's his way into winning, but I don't know. I'll give him some benefit of the doubt. He maybe pays attention and does some stuff. But from the videos he posts and the things he does, like drinking for Chase when he's on a bye week, and not knowing, like it seems like he's not really paying much attention and just kind of like, oh, look at this. I'm winning because my team's scoring the most points just because dumb luck. Because fucking
Right.
Josh Jacobs runs an 86-yard touchdown in overtime and gets me 53 points for one player.
Yeah, I will say this season is odd for him as far as like because he's the next person I know that does a ton of leagues was Spear. So like I know you're in a ton of leagues. Spear, at least for a while, used to be in a decent amount of leagues. To me, I think it's his biggest gambling addiction because he's also the one at the beginning of this year that was like $50. This league isn't worth it. We should totally up it to 100, like right at the draft day or something. Where it's like, yeah, let's suddenly make everybody pay more because we may have agreed to it last year, but this league doesn't pay attention to anything we did the year prior unless we start having like a rules meeting in the middle of the summer next year. Um, but so I'm used to Spear paying attention this season, especially for this league. Um, he's just not what we're used to. I will say in the league, the other league that I was in with him, but got regulated out because I was the worst team in that league last year. I believe he is currently last in that league. So, but it's hard to know because I'm only in a text chain with everybody, but I don't actually look at that league. I don't know if I even have access to see it anymore. I haven't paid attention because I just don't have a team.
Mm.
So I don't know. I don't know what's going on in his life. Maybe he's busy. Maybe he's taking it up the butt. I don't know. It could be a lot of things. So I do know he technically has two jobs, even though it does seem like he golfs a lot. So I have no idea when he's working, which is hilarious to me that Spear then complains about Richie's drinking schedule.
Yes.
Like, yeah, I mean, I also find it interesting that Richie is usually drinking Monday and Tuesday after like middle day mornings,
Well,
but people have
Richie
weird.
Richie's a kept man. Richie just or not just. Richie is the stay-at-home dad and his wife works and Richie stays home, takes care of the kids, takes care of the house. Nothing wrong with that, but it does allow him to drink whatever he wants whenever he wants during the day.
I thought he had a job and then he got a degree.
Had is the correct word.
Oh, okay. I don't know when this happened, but he's living his life. I mean, I'd be a kept man if I could. Maybe with two women making money, I could be, but pretty sure I still out earn both of them combined. Um, I make good money.
So misogynist of you.
Right. Well, I'm a man. I'm smart, and I'm just better and good looking, and all these things that just make me worth more money. At least a full quarter more on the dollar. but who knows? So anyway, we'll get back into bets, but yeah, I don't know what's going on with Spear. Nice for Richie to be able to drink whenever he wants, because who wouldn't? I would. I'd totally do it. So good time. So let's get these bets covered, because otherwise this video is going to get interrupted because we're terrible at timing. So bets made. Brashan had bets with you. I think that was pretty much it. Maybe he had a couple others. The only ones he owes for was his picks, where he picked Harris as the best pick 'em. So he owes for that. He already paid all his last night here at Macasa. So we're good there. He owed you for RB1, 2, receiver 1, and flex. And then because all of us chose him to lose to you, in the video comments, he posted a bet that says, I challenge any one of you to a shot and chug that I'll beat Carver. I was the only one that took that. And so he owed me for that one. So that's all Sean owed. Then we get into the ones Richie. Nope, these are the ones you owe. This is now you. So you owe 17 out of your 28. The ones you owe to Richie, or at least the first few, because you lost 7 and 9 to Richie. I remember this. You got your QB, your RB1, 2, receiver 2, tight end, kicker, defense. You, as Richie, because he likes his best player version of this, had you flipped your flex into your receiver position, you would have lost all 9 bets.
Not necessarily, because my receivers were Tyreek Hill, Deebo Samuel, and Chris Godwin. And
Right.
so if you're going with the true wide receiver 1 and 2, would have been Hill and Deebo, and my flex would have been Godwin, and Godwin scored more points than anybody. So I still would have won the flex no matter what.
Right. That's how you would have set it up. And that's true. He's gotten into the best ball mentality of just best scoring versus best scoring, because Godwin is not the number 1. So you would usually, I would agree, of your lineup, Godwin would have been the one in the flex, and he would have still outscored the flex.
Exactly. Hey, I'm going to drink for my quarterback with Richie.
Okay. I mean, I'm going to point out that looks like water. Oh, that's that seltzer thing. That's right.
What?
Oh,
Cucumber lime.
Right. Okay. Moving on, and all of yours were shot or chug, not announced differential. We then move into you owing to Brashan, since we covered what Brashan owe you. You owe for quarterback, wide receiver 2, tight end, kicker, and defense, because just what it is. Yep. And then you move into the ones you paid for me, which were quarterback, wide receiver 2, tight end, flex, and defense. And then we already talked about the Adams vs. Hill bet. I owed it. I paid 3 times. So shot, chug, shot is what I did. All had to be done pretty much back to back to back. It now resets because I finally lost it. So this week it's a 1x. There's no more bye weeks to fuck this thing up. So I'm assuming we're carrying it to week 17, because these players will play most of the season out. Plus it's Chris. I don't know why we would stop a bet. So there's that. And then I also owed you, apparently, didn't organize these quite the way I would have wanted to announce them when I sorted by what I lost. I also lost to you RB1, 2, receiver 1, kicker. So it sounds like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Apparently I only won one of these. So I actually did worse than you versus Richie. Where I won one of these. So that, no. Totally got, I read yours off. The ones you owed me were QB, wide receiver. Dear Lord, there's too many C's on this stupid screen right now. Too many Carvers and Chewies and whatnots. Okay, I got it. You owed me QB, wide receiver 2, tight end, flex, defense. I owed you RB1, RB2, wide receiver 1, kicker. Done. Those are mine. All paid. Great. Good news, us. Wide receiver 1 and 2, the weekly between Gary and Andy for a wine chug. Gary owes on this. Gary owes 1 for Tiger Beat. Spear owes 2 because Chase is not playing. I still love this bet for the sheer fact that I no, they don't watch this video because I told them in this video that I was just going to assume if somebody was ever injured, they wouldn't be counted. Like, so Spear would never have had to drink for these, but he also would have never got credit for this bet for the last 4 weeks. It wouldn't matter. He's already over the minimum. Sure, he's the second lowest bet total, but whatever. So that's Gary's. Gary also did a position bet, but he did the ounce differential with Harris, where Gary lost kicker, RB1, flex, defense, wide receiver 1, and tight end. And then Harris lost their QB bet of Carr, Hurts versus Fields, Burrow, because once Fields isn't playing, Harris is going to lose that. And then Harris owed 3 for the Detroit versus Bills game that Brashawn, yourself, and Gary took him up on. And then Harris owed Gary wide receiver 2, QB, running back 2. And that covers Harris's bets. Then we get into the Sped Kid. He had the best ball version of a position bet with Richie. So Richie beat him. So Chris owes 4. Quarterback, running back 1, receiver 2, tight end, flex, kicker, defense. And that's all Chris owes this week. So those were all Shouter chugs. Plus, Chris owes a non-light beer chug to Andy this week for total point starters. Richie owes you wide receiver 1 and flex. He already paid him. And then Richie also owed Chris running back 2 and wide receiver 1, and he's already paid those. So Harris has 21 ounces he owes, almost 22 ounces he owes. Chris has his non-light chug plus 7 shotter chugs after that. Harris still owes for his Carr, Hurts, Fields, Burrow. Gary owes little under, somewhere around 20 ounces, 21 ounces. And a wine chug. Spear owes Tiger Beat. And then you've got, looks like you still have, didn't want to give me a count. Let's do that. There we go. 6. You still owe 6 shotter chugs. That moves us to the bet tally, just so we know. Actually, I have to reorganize this because I did not actually get one of these bets in on time. What's up?
I was looking at that as well. Looks like somebody better get Mr. Nielsen 7 more bets by the end of the next 2 weeks, or rules is rules.
Yeah, I will laugh because he would have made it because Chris offered him a position bet a few weeks back. But Nielsen, oddly enough, not Chris, responded back with something so confusing nobody knew what it meant. And it was like something to the effect of like, oh, let's do, Chris was like, let's do a position bet. I forget the deal, like ounce differential probably, right? Nielsen responded back with highest and lowest, we're good. And I was like, what? Like, we're only gonna, I don't know what we're talking about. And even Chris was like, I don't know what this means. So I was like, I can't count this bet as accepted, or that would have given him 9 more bets. Had I just put in a normal position bet, because it kind of seemed like Nielsen was trying to accept, but he wanted to change something. I have no idea what it was. And so and then Chris responded with, what are you talking about? Like, I don't understand. I also didn't understand. So nobody, that bet never happened.
Well, and then Nielsen followed up with an explanation because he's very engaged and is involved in all the group chat stuff, right? That's what happened.
Right. Yeah. So by the time that he never responded, weeks had gone by. In fact, he still hasn't responded. In fact, that might be the last time he even posted in the chat, if I went back and looked at it. But so that's that. Let's just quickly run through this because we still got to do our weekly picks. So Gary is far out in the lead at 168 bets. I'm at 155. Chris is at 139. Harris is at 121. You are now right behind Harris at 114.
Top 5.
Yeah, there you go. Followed by Richie at 104. Rashawn at 83. Andy at 50. Bill at 44. Corey at 40, and Spear at 32, and Nielsen all the way down at 13. With, if it is by week 14, has to make 7 bets in the next 2 weeks. Like, one position bet will save him, but it'd be nice if he issued the bet, because I do not think he has issued a single bet. In fact, I can guarantee he is not. I'm pretty sure. Like,
You're pretty sure.
I guarantee 99% sure that he 80% of the time, 20% of the time, stuff and junk.
All right, hold on. Before we get to our weekly picks, just on quick maths, I want to say 100%, Chris, you are eliminated from playoff contention. Gary, 100% eliminated from playoff contention. Guaranteed playoffs. Bill and Spear, the cousins, guaranteed playoff berths. Also, in some ways, Mr. Irrelevant, Matt Nielsen, guaranteed playoffs. So maybe weird situation. So anybody, Andy, Corey, Harris, Richie, Brashawn, me, and you, maybe not legitimately, but kind of ways, still has an outside chance of making the playoffs. So I think Andy and Corey just need to win one more game in the next 2 weeks, and they are in for sure. You and I would need to win out and need a lot of help.
Yeah, a lot. I would need to score a butt ton of points to have any hope of making a tiebreaker.
Yeah, and then Brashawn, Richie, and Harris are the 3 that most likely one of them will take the 6th spot.
Right.
But it's still open. If Andy Brooks and Corey lose both weeks, then there's a possibility that neither of them could make the playoffs, and a lot of things can happen. So still a lot of time left. Not really 2 weeks, but we shall see what happens. I have no idea who's playing who, but let's go.
All right. Me versus Harris, it's almost basically projected as a tie. I'm going to take myself.
Oh yeah,
no, sorry, I do not break that rule. I'm actually taking Harris. I already wrote it in.
I need Harris to lose, so I'm going you.
Wow.
Hey, set a better lineup this week than you did last week.
Yeah, I will try. Wow, Harris took me as well. Impressive. We then have Andy projected to
He's using reverse psychology.
He probably is. He probably wants the win, and he'd gladly drink for winning, because that's how I do it. That's why I chose him to win. He actually needs the win so he can get in the playoffs, but who knows? So Andy versus Corey, I chose Corey. I will reveal his pick. Harris also took Andy.
Wait. You chose Corey and Harris also chose Andy.
Oh, no. Oh, am I just bad at this tonight? Man, I already typed in Andy. So I've taken Andy. I've written in Andy. Harris has taken Andy. Dear Lord. I'm trying
you both took Andy?
Yes.
I'll be contrarian and take Corey.
Okay. Hasn't worked out in the past. We have Spear versus Gary. I haven't looked at it. I'm just gonna oddly enough, projection wise, is like a tie.
I'm gonna take Spear.
Yeah, I'm taking Spear. You're taking Spear. Harris took Gary. So that's good.
Dummy.
That moves us on to Chris versus Brashawn, where Chris is favored. I can't do it. I can't pick him, so I'm taking Brashawn because he's the best.
I need Chris to beat Brashawn, so I'm gonna roll with Chris again.
Okay. Harris took Chris. So we're good there. Then I know your pick for this one. It is you versus Richie. Richie is projected to win. You're taking yourself. Harris is taking Richie. Just like other people in this league, I can't choose you. It just hurts me too much. I'm going to take Richie. And then that moves us on to Nielsen is projected to beat Bill.
Oh,
I
I
will
don't
let
even, I don't
you
even
choose
care.
this one first.
Neither of them affect my playoff outcome. So I'll take Bill since he's somehow really good this year.
Yeah. You're taking Bill. I'll just take Bill. We all took Bill. It's lame. It's cheap. Whatever. So, speed round on our picks. Let's see. Where does this? We all took Bill to beat Nielsen. That's literally the only one we all took the same people on. So, Harris and Carver chose Chewy to beat Harris. Harris and I chose Andy to beat Corey. You and I chose Spear to beat Gary. You and Harris chose Chris to beat Brashawn. I wonder who Brashawn's going to choose this week for pickups. Probably going to be me. Guess I get a free drink there. Harris and Richie. Not Harris and Richie. Dear Lord. Harris and myself chose Richie to beat Carver. You, of course, chose yourself, and we all chose Bill, like we talked about. So there we go. Make your picks, listeners, all that other fun stuff. We got a little bit of time. So
Let's
probably
all right. So let's think of a creative bet between you and me.
okay.
And we'll think of a creative bet that Harris doesn't realize that he's auto accepting for not being on the podcast tonight.
The good news is I'm sure he would probably accept it anyway, unless we just made it horribly unfair, like Harris has to drink for not being on the show.
Hey, we haven't had a card in a while. What are some card things that are still available?
That is a good question. I'm sure by the time we get through them, this show will be over.
We have 2 minutes. Let's go.
We have the sell your plasma to use the money to buy the winner lunch.
No.
Nobody's got the time for that. Within 2 weeks of the card bet, the loser must eat both a death nut and a toxic waste sour candy at the same time, do a speech, blah, 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 blah. Loser must host a game night virtual for the league, blah, before the Super Bowl. Do a restaurant food challenge, spicy or quantity. Send a message in the group chat about someone in the league you appreciate and why.
No.
In a single bite, stick a teaspoon or more amount of wasabi in your mouth and eat it.
No.
Put 2 tea bags in a pint of IPA for 24 hours. Chug it.
No.
Shave 2 cuts into either eyebrow, a la Vanilla Ice.
No.
Change your Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok profile pics to one of Jeffrey Epstein for 24 hours.
No.
Hose chug. Winner of the bet holds the hose. So this is that one where you get sprayed in the face with a hose while chugging. Harris lost this last year. So and then
highest point sprays, lowest points chugs at the Super Bowl party this week. What do you think?
I am probably okay with that. I think projection wise, yeah, we're projected all pretty close. You're actually projected lower than the two of us. So yeah, I'll accept it. I mean, if Harris doesn't, it's
Harris auto accepts.
Harris auto accepts. So what a